Welcome to CosmoFactory, a podcast by Cosmoprof Worldwide Bologna, where we explore the entire cosmetics, personal care, and fragrance industry supply chain. I'm your host, Deanna Utrusky, and here at CosmoFactory, we look beyond the trends to discover the ideas, initiatives, and innovations that are truly advancing beauty. Let's get started. This episode is about reimagining how suppliers support brands. It's about accessible product development, about cosmetic ingredient makers partnering directly with beauty brands, about material sourcing, product development services, market analysis, and more. Today, on the CosmoFactory podcast, Catherine Slish, Innovation Marketing Manager at Symrise, is my guest. Catherine, welcome to CosmoFactory.
Hi, Deanna. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm pleased to be talking with you in part because brands today have choices about how they create products and develop formulations. Really, whether a brand is created by a major multinational, a solo entrepreneur, some entity in between, oftentimes this product development piece really cannot be done alone. I want to talk with you about a program called Beauty Activations, but before we get to that, I want to remind our listeners where this program lives, per se. It's a project of Symrise, a company specialized in flavors, fragrances, and cosmetic ingredients. But I'm hoping, Catherine, you'll start us off by telling us something more about Symrise.
Absolutely. Symrise, like you said, we are an ingredient supplier. Within the cosmetic industry, we have a very broad portfolio, including advanced actives, preservative solutions, sun care, hair care ingredients, and functional ingredients as well. So Symrise is a supplier for all types of cosmetic ingredients.
And can you just remind us how long has the company been in business? Where is your headquarters? Those sorts of details.
So we are headquartered in Holzminden, Germany, and we have been around for well over 100 years. We have been a firm pillar in the industry, definitely a supplier for many years.
Yeah, a legacy company, we like to say.
Absolutely.
And it was just about 3 or 4 years ago now then that Symrise launched this program called Beauty Activations. My next question is also a fairly simple one, but what is Beauty Activations?
Absolutely. Yes, Deanna, we started Beauty Activations about 4 years ago. And it was created to bring market insight, custom formulations, and that accelerated product development, all those pieces that are so important to creating consumer products together. So, Beauty Activations, we are a formulation team. We are focused on that innovation that comes from creating new products. So, we are focused on really, the commercialization of a product. So we're working with the brands and creating that formula, and that was something that Symrise decided, was needed in the industry. That we needed to have, a way to help brands get their products and their ideas to market.
Because usually when I speak with ingredient makers, they're thinking about product development. The products they're developing are ingredients per se, and certainly you do that. But this initiative focuses rather on the product development that then becomes the end product for the consumer.
Correct. And definitely Symrise does have, its application labs and does have its other team members. This is just a unique team with inside of our cosmetic ingredient group that is designated for, that brand support.
And you mentioned that the company, saw an opportunity or wanted to fill this need. This might sound a little cynical, but Symrise certainly has significant global market share in the ingredients industry. Why did the company choose to invest time and resources to launch this program and work directly with brands during their product development process?
I think it was to just be that innovation partner to help to really partner with our customers, and to help alleviate some of the challenges that come along with product development. There's in the recent years, we've noticed the increased product development cycle. They're getting a little bit faster,
Right.
and the consumer is definitely more educated. And so we want to be able to get, our Symrise knowledge and experience and help to just infuse the brands and help with that whole process.
No, that makes good sense. And certainly, yeah, product innovation, speed to market, these things are only accelerating for a number of reasons. That's helpful to hear. I want to understand more fully then the suite of services that Beauty Activations provides, and maybe as you answer, you can drop in some notes about what you don't provide, because I think that might help us really get our head around what's going on here.
Exactly. So beauty activations, we offer, our top three pillars that we offer is the hero ingredients. Of course, when we say powered by Symrise, we mean that we're leading with our ingredient portfolio and our expertise in those areas. We talk about marketing support. So I am the designated marketer for beauty activations. And so we do help with whether it's monitoring trends, identifying white space, having that communication about what that brand wants to see and what we're seeing in the market, and kind of meeting the brands where they are and helping them, direct them towards what could be possible in the market. And then of course it is that full formula development and speed to market. So it's the hero ingredients, the marketing, and then that formula and that speed to market that's helping the brands.
Hmm. Hmm.
What we don't do, I know that
Yeah.
was part of the question too. What we don't do. So Beauty Activations is not a contract manufacturer. So we're not actually producing that final finished good. We are creating the formula, and we are that part of the development process, truly that formula that then the brands can take to their contract manufacturer or wherever they have that product produced. And we would help, support, where necessary, to help get that formula to scale up. And so they'll have that continued support with us. But definitely we are the formula.
Hmm. Hmm. No, that's very helpful to understand. And as you've said here now several times, formulation is certainly a central piece of product development. Um, I'm wondering if you'll comment on how you're working with other suppliers, maybe ingredient suppliers or other folks along the supply chain, to help then develop these production-ready product formulas that you've described.
Absolutely. So products, there's a lot of pieces when we're putting together products. Formula is what we are specializing in, but definitely when you're putting together a finished good, something that is viable to be commercialized, there are many pieces that come together. So whether it's packaging or components, those are things that we don't specialize in. Those are things that the brand would have to reach out and find vendors or suppliers for. When it comes to, ingredients that are available, of course, Symrise is using Symrise ingredients, but then collaborating where necessary, to produce those, the product that is desired.
Hmm. Hmm. No, that makes sense. There's always partnerships that we don't see in action, but it's nice to hear that's going on. Um, I think you mentioned market analysis being another piece of this initiative, and you and I spoke recently at CosmoProf North America in Miami, and I believe you were showing prototype formulas that featured different textures, appropriate for different consumer demographics. I'm assuming that sort of nuance comes from market analysis. Can you say something about this market analysis piece that you offer for brands?
Absolutely. And honestly, this is one of my favorite things to talk about. So, what we have, our beauty activations team has what we call our tiny talks. And these are, they're inspirational conversations that we designed to spark the conversation about types of products. And so we do, of course, we have access to all the tools, that marketers do, but Symrise also does its own, internal marketing CMI data that we collect. And so definitely we are very in touch with what's going on and that marketing insight. So what we had at Cosmoprof Miami was Sensory Seekers. It was a tiny talk that was definitely about the different textures that we're seeing in the marketplace right now, and where those textures are coming from, like what's inspiring them, the different countries, where we're drawing inspiration from, the different generations where we're drawing inspiration from, and then how people feel. What we're seeing in the marketplace right now is that efficacy is number one, and then number two is the experience. So consumers really want to have a fantastic experience when they're touching that product for the first time. So that's what Sensory Seekers really hones in on, the experience of that product.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's very cool. And I'm curious, I guess, to learn more about Symrise specialty in terms of ingredients. You ran through a nice list of product categories that the ingredients the company makes are appropriate for. But is texture something you're particularly adept at, or was that just something that you picked up, through the market analysis, sort of noticing that that's pertinent to consumers? Where does that fit in?
So, well, texture is a big part of product development, and really finding the textures that meet and lend themselves to the products, the ingredients that we have. So we had some prototypes that really spoke to sensitive skin and having that nice kind of cloud texture to it. So our chemists were able to work with some of our products and create some of these really great storytelling prototypes. So, and sensitive skin is something that Symrise is, very well known for. We have ingredients that address many issues, and sensitive skin is one of them.
Mhm. Okay, that makes sense. And I don't think we've said it directly here, so I want you to help us think about who Beauty Activations is for. We're talking about really, connecting the brand with product development expertise that lives at an ingredient supplier. But what sort of brand is this, or what sort of professional are you working directly with? Who is Beauty Activations for?
So our target audience would be the product developer, and this product developer could be at um, a small brand, a mid-sized brand, or even a large, global brand, depending on what their need was. And so if they're looking to just, infuse some innovation into their product line, Beauty Activations can help with that. If they're looking, if they're creating something new, Beauty Activations can help with that. But definitely it's the product developer that we're looking to have those conversations with, as well as marketers. They're a big part of the story as well. And truly working with that working from a brief, so definitely, when that product development brief is available, and starting the conversation and talking about, types of directions that they want it to go in. So that's really, who we want to talk to, and probably when we want to talk to them too, when they're ready to have conversations about something that they're ready to brief out.
Right, right. Once they have a brief, that comes in part, right, from the brand knowing themselves, knowing their customer, and you're lending expertise even when it is market analysis from a different angle.
Absolutely, absolutely. And when we talk with the brands, it's their DNA that we're infusing into that finished product. It's Beauty Activations, it's Symrise active ingredients, but it is that brand's DNA. So we work very closely with what their call outs are and what they want to achieve.
Hmm. Hmm. That makes good sense because we know brands like to maintain their identity, and certainly, yeah, that's so interesting to think about. So, I mean, you've shared, so many insights thus far about beauty activations that I think are a very helpful example, or I don't know if I should boldly call it an experiment, that other suppliers listening might benefit from. But I do want to ask, you know, is this working? Is this something that it feels appropriate for Symrise to continue doing? Is this something that brands are appreciating? Do ingredient suppliers fit comfortably into this product development conversation?
Absolutely. I do think brands are appreciating this service. It's always great to have another mind in the mix, and having a conversation that can just expand. So I do think the brands are enjoying it. I think it is something that will continue to be part of what we offer,
Mhm.
for our brands and for our customers, so that they can have that space to have more conversations and to see what direction is possible with their next product.
Hmm. And I realize you and I know beauty activations. I believe it's North American or U.S. Your
So
customer
yes,
is
yes,
regional.
this is a North American team. So we are in North America. Symrise does offer similar services in different regions, but definitely this is a North American initiative. This Beauty Activations is part of North America
Hmm. Hmm. But like you said, there are similar initiatives in other markets. That
region.
makes
Yeah.
sense for a global company. Is there something I haven't asked you? Is there something everyone wants to know about this sort of program, or that you like to share that maybe I didn't think of?
So I think when customers come to us, they do have that question of, is this something that we can do? And it is. So it's not something, Symrise isn't charging for this development service. It's something that we truly are collaborating with our customers, because there is that mutual benefit, of having the Symrise ingredients and working with these brands to create their next product. So I feel like, yeah, it's something that customers want to know. Is this something that we can do? And the answer
Yeah,
is yes, of course.
wonderful. Well, Catherine, it was very generous of you to let us learn from your work in this area. I thank you so much for being my guest on the Cosmo Factory podcast.
Deanna, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for listening. If you find the Cosmo Factory podcast useful, please take a moment to leave us a 5-star review and share your thoughts so even more cosmetic industry professionals can discover the Cosmo Factory. I'm Deanna Utrusky. Please join me again next Tuesday for a new episode of the Cosmo Factory podcast.